Yeah, I remember.
Okay, everyone, good evening. I'd like to call over this November 19th, 2024 regular council meeting. Please rise for the invocation, remain standing for a pledge of allegiance. Nancy Hines, please.
Thank you. Let us pray. Gracious and Almighty God, we give you thanks for this day. We give you thanks for our community, for the ways that you have blessed this community. We give you thanks for time to come together, to look towards the future of this community. Loving God, be with us in all that we do and say, and let it be to your glory. And we ask this in your most precious name. Amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, next verbal roll call, council members present for the record.
Councilmember Beck.
Present.
Councilmember Cooper. Present. Councilmember Joy. Present. Councilmember Perkins.
Present.
Councilmember Sexton. Present. Vice Mayor Atkins.
Present.
Mayor Anderson.
Present. Next, the approval of meeting minutes from November 5th, 2024 regular meeting. Are there any corrections or changes to these minutes? Do I have a motion to approve the November 5th, 2024 regular meeting minutes?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
No.
5 yes, 2 no, motion passes.
Next on the agenda is unfinished business. We have an ordinance this evening, ordinance 2024-04, an ordinance certifying the municipality of New Lebanon distribution year 2025 and tax year 2024 street light assessment to Montgomery County, Ohio, in the amount of $60,000. This is the third reading of this ordinance. At this time, I'll ask anyone from the audience who would like to speak about this ordinance to come to the podium to ask questions or make a comment. No. Does anyone on council have comments or questions about this ordinance? Okay, do I have a motion to approve ordinance 2024-04?
So moved.
Second.
Councilmember Perkins.
Yes.
Councilmember Beck.
Yes.
Councilmember Cooper.
Yes.
Councilmember Sexton.
Yes.
Councilmember Joy.
Yes.
Mayor Anderson.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Atkins.
Yes.
7 yes, 0 no.
Okay, does anyone on council have any other unfinished business? No?
I have one thing you mentioned, so At the last meeting, we went over the auditor's report that was provided. And part of that report identified Chief Kaiser as being investigated, I guess you would say, for comp time. And I want to just make it clear, for those of you that read that report, I don't think they're investigating on whether or not he should have received that payment. I think they're investigating how it was calculated. And if you look at the way the ordinance is written, the way we calculate it, I think that's all they're looking into is did we calculate it properly? I think even Chief Kaiser would agree that that was a large payout of comp time, but he worked those hours. He ran on medic, he worked shifts when they couldn't get filled. So I think it's unfair to lump him in with the other two that were being investigated for comp time when he is an hourly employee. Hourly employees are entitled to comp time when they work over a certain number of hours. He worked those hours, he worked them properly, he spent time away from his family. And I think it's unfair that he kind of caught a glancing blow at the last meeting when that investigation came out. So Chief Kaiser, I apologize you had to go through that. I don't think that was the intent of that, but I want to make sure everybody understands that moving forward. That it's not a question whether or not you deserved it. It's whether or not we calculated it correctly. And frankly, the way you read it, we may have not done it properly and may have under-calculated what he was doing. So I just want to make that clear as what we're saying here.
AC, do you have any comments?
Yeah, I mean, thanks for clarifying.
Yeah.
That's way pretty heavy. This,
I bet.
especially with everything else,
I bet.
so.
New business. Ordinance 2024-05, an ordinance to approve the annual budget, adopt appropriations for current and other expenditures, and authorize transfer of monies to the village of Lebanon, Ohio for the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2025. This is the first reading of this ordinance. We will set a second reading of the ordinance for the December 3rd, 2024 regular council meeting. And the village manager has a few things to say about that.
I wanted to thank council and the folks that showed up last night for the workshop that we had with regard to the budget. I said this last night, and I think it bears repeating now that we have a much larger crowd here for this meeting, that we went over the numbers, and while the numbers don't look bad, the trends are concerning. And we looked at the various funds, the larger funds that we have, the general fund, street fund, and we looked at the trends from 2021 to present in that 5-year window, and then going forward. We just wanted to make sure everybody understood the situation that we're in. Yes, we have money. There's money in our accounts. We're not missing payments and missing bills. But if these trends were to continue, we would be in a severe situation with regard to our finances in the general fund and our other funds, because we have not properly been planning for the eventuality with our revenues going down and our revenues staying flat and our expenses going up, and our fund balance is getting paid down. With that being said, we do have a couple funds that are in the negative. It was mentioned last night, and there was a lot of good conversation among the council about our sewer fund. Our water fund has a reserve balance and a decent reserve balance. Our sewer fund, however, is underwater. We've not raised our sewer rate in some time, since I believe 2018. 2013 on the water, I think it's 2018 on the sewer rate. Other communities have raised them systematically, and we are on the low end of the communities in our region. So in order to address the negative balance that is currently there and will be getting larger, we need to do a sewer rate increase, not a water rate increase. So there was great conversation. I think Mr. Perkins had a couple of comments about that last night. We will look at what needs to happen with regard to our sewer rates going forward. Because as anybody that's ever been there, Derek can attest to this. I see Brian's in the back there. Anybody that's worked in our service department knows our sewer plant needs some help. There are a lot of repairs that can be made. There are a lot of things that we've deferred in terms of maintenance that need to be done. Those bills are coming due, and we need to plan for that. So one of the tough things that this council is going to have to do, or the tough choice you have to make, is pass an increase. It was said last night, had we started this a few years ago and known this was coming, we wouldn't be in the situation we're in. We probably would have over time had the same increase, but now we're going to have to do it in one fell swoop instead of just systematically doing smaller increases year over year. So that's not pleasant, that's not popular, but it's a reality. Has nothing to do with professional services that are being paid up here. That's a totally separate fund that has nothing to do with the administration. We just need to raise our sewer rates, and that's hard to hear and it's hard to understand, but again, had we been planning for this in the previous 3 years, it would have been systematic increases and it wouldn't have been as dramatic. Be that as it may, we have to make some fairly large choices with regard to our sewer fund. Our water fund is where the sewer fund was 3 years ago. So we need to make sure we don't deplete the water fund to the point where we have no money in it. So that will also need to be studied. We'll also need to look at how we address that moving forward and what happens to those funds. The other thing we looked at were there were some irregularities with regard to our finances that were brought up last night. I hired some finance consultants who each have 30 years of experience in municipal finance to look at the books. They found some irregularities, some things that were done contrary to Ohio law. The first one was they transferred money from the water fund to the construction projects fund, which had a negative balance for a couple of years. They did it as a paper transaction with approval of council in the state of Ohio, both of which are not legal. We have reversed that transaction. We brought that back. Luckily, we caught it in the same year that it happened, so we didn't get an audit finding. But that is one thing that we've had to do. And now we have to figure out how to take that negative balance out of the construction projects fund before our audit next year. So we're working on that as we speak. They created a community enrichment fund and transferred money from Montgomery County Municipal Court Fund on January 1st. The Montgomery County Municipal Court building has a separate fund, and the money can't just be transferred or taken away from it and put it in a new fund without one council approval, without two state of Ohio approval, neither of which were done, and they transferred $253,000 from that account to create the community enrichment fund. Because of that, we've had to reverse that transaction. We've had to close the community enrichment fund or act like it never existed, put the money back in the court fund, and report that to our auditor to make sure that we don't get dinged on the next audit. And then the last thing, we are working on our several funds that have had negative balances in the last 2 biennial audits. We are working on how to address those, but those answers aren't easy and they are not going to be overnight. So we are looking at how to address those. But again, those things, it's fun to talk about our professional services that we're all getting paid up here, and that's a hot button. And they have gone up year over year. That's true. But you know, you pay for professionals, right? And the cost savings that we've had in the personnel lines have offset the majority of that cost. So while our professional services have gone up year over year, they will be higher next year than they were last year because we are trying to get professionals in here to do this work and to try to rectify the issues that have come up over time so that we can move forward and continue to grow and maintain the community that you all enjoy. So I appreciate everybody that was there last night. When this comes forward for the second reading, we will have allow the public to make comments. So at the next meeting on December 3rd, we will open the floor up and let you all ask questions of the budget, make comments. We will take notes, try to answer those for you. If you have anything ahead of time you want to ask, please feel free to email me, send a message to the website. The budget presentation is located on the website now. You can download it and take a look at the things that I was pointing out tonight. But I wanted to say that, Your Honor, because I know there was a question last night that when people could ask questions. You can ask questions anytime you want. We can actually bring people up on December 3rd during that part of the agenda and have them ask questions there. That's what I would like to do.
All right, thank you. Next one, another resolution here, 2024-25. Resolution authorizing a request for an advance payment of taxes collected for year 2024, collection year 2025. Does anyone on council have any comments or questions about this resolution? No? Okay. Do I have a motion to approve resolution 2024-1?
Second.
Councilmember Cooper,
Yes.
Councilmember Joy,
Yes.
Councilmember Perkins,
Yes.
Councilmember Mack,
Yes.
Mayor Nickerson,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Atkins,
Yes.
Councilmember Sexton.
Yes.
7 yeses, 0 no's.
Next one, resolution 2024-26. A resolution authorizing the payroll administrator to retroactively sign and approve checks written between March 1st, 2024 and November 15th, 2024. Does anyone on council have a comment or question about this resolution?
I just wanted to make it clear that, I've seen that somebody sent me that they think, people in the community thinks that we actually knew about this going on. We actually found out, I don't know if any other council members knew about it prior to this, I'd like to find out. But, we found out at the last meeting that this was going on, and this has nothing to do with any council member signing these checks. Nobody on the council signing it, correct?
Correct.
Okay, could we see if anybody else actually knew about this? On council?
I don't know that they did. It wasn't something that necessarily council would know. This is something that at the time when we put the payroll administrator on as a signer of the checks, we did not have a CFO. It was the most logical person to sign checks. And I didn't even think about it at the time. And it went on because, you know, I didn't check into it. It went on until last week or this week. I don't know that it invalidates any of the checks. I think, you know, we can't go back and you know, reissue all those checks with the proper signatures would be onerous. And we need to keep the business of the village going. So, you know, I appreciate somebody pointing it out to me. I will take credit, I will take the blame for that mistake. And, you know, take whatever action you want against me for that. I deserve it because it was my fault that it happened, but, you know, all this is doing is getting us back in line with the auditor's findings that came down last week. Hopefully, and then moving forward, we will have our CFO, and the mayor and I as signers on checks.
Okay, thank you.
You sign the checks now.
I am a payroll administrator.
So that's okay with the state orders then?
I'll ask that to Mr. McNamee. This was.
Certainly is. The issue was, when the new signer was put on, council should have approved it.
Right.
And that's the purpose of this legislation, is to retroactively approve all the checks. We had two signers, checks and balances were there.
Correct.
There's been no impropriety with any of the expenditures.
You know, they check them out.
We have not, to my knowledge, not approved checks.
I think the gentleman over there was probably cashier, so he didn't, what do you call it? He probably, I would say he probably received his money then.
We all did.
Okay.
Would you have anything?
I do.
Okay, go ahead.
I believe that it was Mr. Hutchinson last meeting that asked the question, who reported this? And I think that it's fair to say that it was me. I'm the one that reported it to the auditor. And you're accepting the blame on this?
I don't know who else could take it.
Okay, is there charges going to be pressed for on this, Mr. McNamee?
Absolutely not. It's an inadvertent oversight. There's been no impropriety.
It's still fraud.
It's not fraud.
Sir, you're not a lawyer. What you say is not the word of law. Just go ahead and keep on battling like you always did. There's been no.
You're out of order, sir.
Order, please. Order, please. We will have order in this room tonight, okay? It's not gonna be a free-for-all like the last meeting. You'll be asked to say to maintain order, if not, you will be removed. Okay? And it is a violation of the law, Ohio Revised Code Section 2917.12. It is an arrestable offense. And our officer is aware of it tonight. Our chief is aware of it. We will have order in this room, or you will be removed. Please.
Finish my response. The answer is no.
Okay, I'm just telling you that unauthorized people were signing checks. So how you guys have heard it.
Unauthorized person, not people. I was signing a check. And one other person.
Okay.
And if there's a charge to be had, if you can find a prosecutor to charge me, I guess I'll take it.
Okay.
Mayor, I have one question.
Go ahead.
I guess, is there anything that has to be noted as far as the auditor knowing? How does that work? In other words, when they do our audit,
We can certainly let them know that as part of that, and, you know, obviously they will know about the investigation that's
Yeah.
happened, so we will make them aware that we have taken this action and let them know we've rectified the situation.
Just like the other funds being transferred from the account.
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
So you make the auditor aware of your findings in PowerPoint
Yes,
and give them a copy of the auditor's report that we received.
yes, sir.
Okay, does anyone else on council have comments or questions about this resolution? Do I have a motion to approve resolution 2024-27?
So moved.
Second.
Mayor Nickerson,
Yes.
Councilmember Sexton,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Atkins,
Yes,
Councilmember Joy,
No.
Councilmember Perkins.
No.
Councilmember Cooper,
Yes,
Councilmember Back,
Yes.
5 yeses and 2 nos, motion passes.
Okay, next is public comments or questions. I will call your name and address for the record. You'll have 3 minutes to speak and be heard. Once your time is up, you will be thanked, but no additional time will be given, and no donation of time by others to others is allowed. We will not be stopping your time, but may, if necessary, address your comments after you have finished speaking. We have several people tonight, so we're gonna, at the 3 minute mark, we're gonna ask you to be finished, please, okay? And please let me remind you, we will have order in this room. Okay? If not, you will be removed. Okay? And this is an arrestable offense. I'm reminding you, this is an arrestable offense. Okay? So please. All right, first person, Shannon Bemis, 130 Broadwood, please.
So I guess I'll start with what Mr. Joy just said. Looking up the definition of fraud, wrongful or criminal deception intended to result in financial or personal gain. I honestly myself, I read the charter, would not think that putting the payroll clerk / accounts payable person as a signer on the check would have been a bad thing. That's typically what you would have in a business or any other type of entity. What I appreciate is that council is aware they are taking actions to rectify the situation and being transparent about it. You wanna talk about fraud, again, beating a dead horse. I brought you papers showing that there was money taken knowingly, told you are not entitled to receive this money, and was ordered to pay this for years. I've given you that information. If anybody wants it, I'll send it over via text, email, message, whatever. As far as the professional fees, I used to be able to rattle off all this money we used to spend and money here, money there, and this and that, and I'm not gonna go back and figure it all out. I'm done with that. What we were doing before, we were spending money on our wants and not our needs. And I've made that very clear over the course of years. The empty courthouse that we had no plans for. We say we have plans for, request a proposal was put out just this January when we're supposed to have intentions of it opening in spring. So we've been dragging along for a long time with this empty court building, spending $26,000 a year to clean it, insure it, the alarm system, water, electricity, things like that. On top of losing the $55,000 a year in revenue. As far as the professional services go, and Mr. Anderson, what you said, and the way that I'm reading the financial report, I just want to clarify. So you being interim manager, you being law director, these financial services, this isn't just for Mr. Mack and me. My understanding, and if I'm wrong, let me know. Glenna, our municipal manager, Bill, our CFO, was paid out of like administrative fund or different funds that they would split between. So that money, say Bill was $80,000 a year, Glenna was $115,000 a year. You're basically just, instead of paying that there, it's now in the form of professional services.
Correct, we went from paying in personnel, which is a line item, to professional services.
Okay, so instead of paying $115,000 in there, it's being paid in here. So when you look at the total, you're gonna see that, okay, this may have gone up $200-something thousand, but then in your administrative fund, it's going down.
Correct.
Okay, I wanna make sure that because there's more to what people are reading, they're needing to dig a little bit deeper to figure that out. And then, knowing, all right.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Thanks, Ann, appreciate it. Next is Jim Logsden, 337 West Main.
Good evening, thanks for having me up. I'd like to start off with maybe passing some out to everybody.
Sure.
That's all there. No worries. Thank you.
Okay, as you're seeing, I did not have access to see the actual oath of office for serving this town. But I'm pretty sure this is similar to the oath that was taken, less the announcement of the oath in Lebanon, is that correct?
It's close.
Yeah, it's similar.
Okay, so it's agreed that you all have taken an oath to defend the Constitution of the United States, correct? Well, I want to share a little story about a man that came to power in 1933. The man came to power allies against everything in this country. He later rose up to be a man who rose in that direction. The very first thing I did in 1933 was to oppress the freedom of speech and the freedom of the press. Why do I bring this up? Because what I seen at the last meeting was outrageous. To see anybody's civil rights, particularly freedom of speech, to be oppressed by anybody, that includes you and the council, to strike anybody out of order for speaking their mind. I came here last week because of my own video, I got concerned. However, what I saw was one side being squashed. I saw them being silenced. That is uncalled for. The damage is already done in this village. The only way we're gonna move forward is to look for solutions. The time of recording has got to stop. And that goes for everybody sitting up there right now. The time has also come to stop for those in legal position to give legal advice. To give advice so dangerous to try to avoid having to follow the sunshine law. You, sir, Mr. McIntyre, I implore you, step aside, recluse yourself, you have crossed the line. With that, I stand down.
Okay, Teresa Cooper, 443 Hazelhurst.
Council, thank you so much for bringing in professional services. Thank you so much for working on getting our zoning up to date. I know that there are a lot of people that have neighbors that may not be the best neighbors, and I appreciate what you were doing on that behalf. I realize that our charter doesn't give us any teeth, and I know that you are working diligently to get that going. Mr. Anderson, Salt Barn, is it gonna be up and going this year, or did we just waste $87,000?
No, that's a very timely question because I was contacted today by my Carmen Building Department. And so I submitted for a building permit for the salt barn. So once they do a review and let us know what we need to do to make that legal, we'll be able to occupy it.
That would be fantastic. I would have hated to see that $87,000 gone. I appreciate their professional services. I worked in a company that did that, and you learned so much. I learned so much last night. It was totally amazing. And I'm sorry that more people weren't here to hear your speech on exactly what we're supposed to be doing. And I stood here for 3 years and come to the council meeting without my husband sometimes, because I was very concerned with how we were blowing money, buying police cruisers and cheap cars and all of the things that we were just blowing money on. And knowing that our sewer is in terrible need. I mean, when I flush my toilet, I wanna make sure that the sewage goes down, it doesn't come back up. And I will glad to pay that extra 25% to make sure that doesn't happen. Thank you, Mayor. I really do appreciate you.
Shay, thank you. Colin Kennedy, 42 Joseph.
Good evening, Paul. How are you? Good. All right, so New Lebanon, we have individuals who have dedicated their careers to our village. It's almost 16, 17, and 18 years of service, of devotion, and love for our village, who have left or were terminated. The brutal attacks and dragging these individuals' names through the dirt, and then what? The auditor comes back and finds that none of the serious allegations to be true. Your mayor will tell you that he had nothing to do with the terminations. They will tell you that they are all transparent. In reality, they played us all like a bill, and have disgraced our community and public workers while doing so. This isn't a Republican versus Democrat problem. This is a right from all. They are doing way worse with our tax dollars than anyone has ever done before. They point fingers at cruisers being purchased, that was still a community investment, buildings being maintained and cleaned. This is an investment towards preserving a multi-million-dollar facility. They gripe at the negative debt on our sewage lines, yet sewage lines for the first time in 40 years were finally being addressed. A lot of the money came from grants. There are gonna come debts when entire streets and towns are being ripped up and sewage lines are being replaced. What about the estimated $266,000 in county that they have thrown down the drain, all because of a personal vendetta against individuals they didn't like? How about the proposed budget for next year, spending just as much money as we've spent in previous years? How many times have they went on and on about spending? This is all about what is convenient for them. This law director is here solely for a paycheck. This man has made over probably $200,000 this year off our tax dollars, yet he still runs a full-time job. His part-time job is handling our village. His tax money doesn't go back into our community. At least our former law director's money did. And he has resided in our community for years. This man is hungry. He wants to set his family up for a good inheritance and ensure he and his wife are driving the hottest new Yukon. And thanks to the village of New Lebanon. Citizens, it's time to wake up and it's time to realize that this is not what is better for the community. We need leaders that are going to fight for what's right and be honest with the people of New Lebanon. This is not who we have in place. These are not the people we voted for. We were promised resolve and apologies if they were wrong. Where are those apologies now? Melissa Sexton, I have a question for you. Are you resigning once your husband takes a seat?
I'll do it. Answer his question.
No.
You will not? Okay, thank you. That's all. Y'all have a good night.
All right, sir, appreciate it, thank you. Okay, Michelle, I'll beat up your back here, let's say, so come on up, please. Michelle Nadowski, 301 Ledgewood Court.
Good evening. Thank you for the information last evening that you gave. Not to insult anyone, but the books are out there. Microsoft Word for Dummies, Medicine for Dummies. I call that Finance for Dummies. That was easily read and understood. And I appreciate the time it was taken so that we could understand the finances of the village better. So thank you for that. My take is making our village look better. If you had something to do with the property behind American Legion looking a little better in the last week, thank you. But I bring you more pictures. They don't need any words. If they can't be fixed, if there's not an ordinance for it or a zoning for it, you can let me know. But broken down, flat tired vehicles with plates that expired either in January or July of this year, sitting on our public streets. Hasn't been moved in months. The trash at 301 Lawson and a new place on Gregory. And then I don't know about motorhomes, so I included some motorhome photos for you as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. Next is Ronald Full, 361 Shop Drive.
I'm Ronald Bull, lived here 17 years. I have several things to talk about. It's hard in 3 minutes to ask a lot of questions. First of all, I think you're like a bully, Mr. Nickerson. I mean, you're like practically screaming that the place is gonna be under order. I feel like it's like a stock over here. You mentioned the mass last meeting being out of order. I don't really see that. You act like it was the insurrection January 6th. It was pretty common. A couple people like just wanted to ask a question after 3 minutes. It's ridiculous. You can't like raise your hand and ask a simple question. Someone back here, a couple of people wanted to ask a question and things come up when other people are talking. You think of something, you wait till the next meeting and then you forget about it. You're the one, you raise your voice like a maniac. You're out of order. You're out of order. That's ridiculous. And another thing, I asked about the police officer getting hired and stuff, and the ones that were fired. There's no use bringing up the old ones. Mr. Back was that the officers that left or got let go, whatever happened, would have came to city council that we might have worked something out. I don't believe everything reading online, but someone online mentioned that there was a meeting between the city council and the officers, and they came and had a meeting, and then like one of them was let go right away, and like the next day, the other one was gone or left.
Can I answer?
I mean, but I got 3 minutes on this.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. And about the building across the street, there's probably more going on I don't know about. Are we sitting on that? What, do you have plans with that? Well, we're paying all this money to, I mean, if we're in big trouble. You should have a fire sale anything we have that we can sell, to get caught up. I mean, that's the way I see it. But, okay, let me talk.
Good, good.
Real quick, can I address?
Go ahead.
Sir, real quick, I did not attend any meeting or any discussion of that took place. Rob, can affirm to that? There was, so, and I never received no emails or anything like that outside of an email. If you want to reach out that way, they couldn't.
Mention who they talked to. I mean, it's.
Yeah, I'm just answering the question, sir. So thank you for your time.
I'll answer the question of the building. One of the recommendations last night was to look at selling that building to try to get a use in there that would generate some income tax and some property tax for the village.
Okay, Tina Bell, 301 Blossom.
I know, Annabelle, for your awesome. Last night was great. Yeah, we could understand everything. There wasn't anything that I was like, wait, go back. Do I need a dictionary for that? So 2 things I want to address real quick. When we have these meetings, if there's a little low, to have the part of the lights on in the courthouse parking lot over there would be awesome. Also to try to keep the path to the garden parking lot open. I don't know if people know that that's even there, but if that's open, then people can additionally park in that right parking lot. Those 2 things. Let's see. All right, so I made a comment evidently that people are wanting me to kind of say that was addressing things last night. So for anybody that, all these issues that are coming up, people addressing, who's being paid for what and whatever. A lot of it was addressed last night, and it was made abundantly clear where a lot of the money was going. So what I did, I just suggest everyone go to the village website and watch last night's meeting. It was extremely informative, especially about how funds are spent or shared toward other funds and how some were never allowed to be spent or shared in the fashion they were. Rob and the experts did a great job of explaining in a manner that was not confusing to the public. I will also add professional service fees would not have been needed, or at least not to this degree, if there weren't so many things that needed addressed within our village offices. I, for one, am not upset about these services because it's obvious we need the expertise to get to the bottom of this with as much transparency as possible. On that note, Rob, your transparency about the things tonight, especially Chief, yeah, that's what we need to see. Citizens can contribute or continue to allude to this council being responsible for the debt, but the fact is the previous 2 mayors and subsequent councils and office managers were responsible for decisions that led us to this moment. Whether it was poor planning, not planning, whatever. Had they planned for the future instead of just the immediate wants and needs, the issue with the water and sewer increase would not hit so hard. And I myself was very shocked. I've been here for 27 years, and I was shocked to find out that we had not increased the water. I will also encourage everyone to try to come up with ways that we as a community can help save money or donate time and resources toward at least the small projects. Fundraisers would be a good idea or way to ease the costs as well. The meetings are here for us to bring our ideas on how to fix things, not just to complain. And so I hope that helps a lot of people understand. Please go and watch the meeting last night. And can residents offer services and fees at a lesser or free cost to the village to offset, the benches that are getting done? Could somebody offer to build those? I mean, but it takes volunteers. But honestly, it takes the village to volunteer to get this village back to order. We don't always have to have the council or the funds to do things around here. We can do them on ourselves. It just takes it upon ourselves to do those things. And I encourage everybody to, going forward, to try to work together to do that. So, and while I have time, Gail, you are appalling. You are utterly appalling. You can look at everybody while you're addressing fraud that is not fraud, while you sat on council while fraud was happening. You're appalling to be on council. Thank you, everybody.
All right, Dan, thank you. Okay, next is administrative staff comments. Daryl, we'll start off with you tonight, buddy.
Something's gotta get done about Cove Court as far as, I know it's a one-way street now, but that's terrible to do leaves on, so I don't know if that's something you guys can maybe make an ordinance as far as on the other side of the road, break and leave, but that's not gonna work. So.
Anybody have anything for our superintendent of the service pro? No? Gary, how about you, Zone? Anything?
Thank you. Just the house behind the Legion guys cleaning it up. It's gonna take him a couple of weeks, but he's working on it.
Okay. Anybody have anything for zoning? No? Fire chief.
Yeah, I just want to remind everybody of a couple dates. So Santa Claus riding through the town will be December 7th, and that'll start around dusk. The schedule for the route is on the website. Unfortunately, we cannot hit every single street, just due to access in and out. So, that question has came up, and I relied back on the crew that has done this event for the last couple of years. And they just said due to some parking issues and ability to get in and out, that they did leave some streets off for that reason. December 14th is Cookies with a Cop at the firehouse from 11 to 1. Santa will also be at the firehouse that day from 11 to 1. We will have something set up like we have in years past. If people want pictures with Santa, that they can take pictures with their cameras, phones, whatever they want, however they want to do that. Following that at 2 p.m. is the tanker dedication ceremony. I know Farmersville has a lot going on that day, so we will likely not do a wedding ceremony. We will do a push-in ceremony / dedication to former Fire Chief Dave Baldorf that night. And then following that, which is not really us, but the holiday parade is that night. A couple people have asked about the progress on the new tanker, as well as the status of the current medic or the new medic. The new tanker should hopefully be in service sometime this week. Moving forward, I feel like we have enough drivers at this point that have done what I've told them to do in order to be able to operate that truck. The medic is at International. We've had some reoccurring issues with the medic as far as International's related, or as far as International's concerned with the chassis. I have informed them that, especially for the brakes, this is 10,000 miles. This is the third time that we've had brake issues. I have informed them that if they can't fix this, that I will be talking to the law director on a direction moving forward. Because it is a commercial vehicle, we cannot lemon law it in the standard lemon law way, but there is a way to just recuperate our funds and give that truck back if we have to. Because we're just not gonna incur that long-term cost of the same thing breaking over and over and over again. And I've identified and made that very clear to International. So they took it to Columbus this time instead of to Dayton. And then from there, it will go back to the ambulance manufacturer to address just a couple issues that they have. So that should cover the two new trucks. As far as the last couple of weeks, I want to thank the numerous people that have reached out. People in the community that have provided meals for my family, people who have provided gift cards and just checked on my family. From the crash, everyone is recuperating. It's going to be a long road of recovery for several. So I do appreciate the community reaching out and all the things that people have offered. You know, I had several people contact me and say, whatever it is, no matter what it is, you know, you just let us know, we'll get it taken care of. You know, if you need to get away and you need someone to sit with your wife or whatever, you know, we will do that. So I do appreciate the communities, and not just the community, but further out, the outreach to ensure that my family's needs were met. Thank you.
Thanks, Jason. Please, Chief. Anything, sir?
So we have two new full timers that we're onboarding. They're starting out now. They're going through the admin training now. So that with the one full timer that we had to go back to part time, with these two new, we'll be up to 5. It's going to take some time to get them actually geared up and trained. So you'll see some new faces and extra cars out while they're in training. The only other thing I had, I was hoping to give an update on the BCI request. We're hoping to get something done last week, but there's some exigent stuff that came up, so we're still just waiting on that.
All right, does anybody have anything for the fire chief or the police chief? That JCL for standing students, you just reach out, you need anything you need, you call us. So the support will be there definitely. Okay, law director comments.
Yes, Mayor, given some of the comments that I heard tonight, especially with running the meeting, in the process of running a meeting, I thought a few comments might be in order. This community is no different than any community in the state of Ohio. It runs its meetings pursuant to what's called Robert's Rules of Order. Those rules of order have been in place since the 1800s. If you take a look at any meeting televised that's run in the state, you'll see it's done orderly and pursuant to those rules. The mayor is the chair of the meeting, who controls the meeting. Nobody can speak according to the rules unless the mayor authorizes that person to speak. The audience speaks only at the time allocated in the agenda. It's not a free-for-all from the audience, screaming out, trying to ask questions. Otherwise, it turns into a Jerry Springer show. So that's not what public meetings are for. Just because the mayor calls somebody out of order doesn't equate him to Adolf Hitler. So I think the mayor does a good job. He exercises probably too much patience, but just wanted that to be heard for the record.
Anybody have anything for the law director? No? Municipal manager's comments.
Thank you, Your Honor. I just have a couple of things tonight. I haven't prepared a statement, but I'm not gonna read it. I'm just gonna kind of go off the cuff and see how things go. So, as you know, I was brought in to kind of be a temporary fix here, to cover the gap until we could find a permanent replacement, as the village manager. And in October, you all made a hire of a village manager, Pete Sexton, to come on and take over sometime in early December. my time here was set to end on Friday. Based on my contract. I was informed last week, however, that Mr. Sexton has withdrawn from the process. Chooses not to continue as a village manager. And so he will not be joining the organization starting in December. Tried very hard to line up an acting manager as I have commitments elsewhere to continue. Those were not fruitful, and not wanting to leave the village in a lurch or without a manager. I've agreed to extend my time here by a month-to-month basis till we can continue to hire the position need to be hired. I know Daryl needs help in the service department. We need a police chief. We need a service director, et cetera, and a manager. So I will continue to try to fill those positions, and hopefully my time won't have to last much longer. We can get somebody in a permanent position. But I wanted to let you all know, I've had wonderful conversations with Mr. Sexton. He and I have had a little bit of a friendship since he decided to come on board. I think what all boiled down to was this is not an easy job. Public management is not an easy job anywhere. It's certainly not an easy job when you have financial issues you need to address, you have personal issues you need to address, and you have the turmoil that's going on in the community. It's a big thing to take on, and it's not for the faint of heart. So not that he couldn't do it. I think he had the right temperament, knowledge, skill, and ability to be excellent at this job. It's just a lot, and when it begins to affect your health and your mental health, it's very difficult to continue and take that on. And I understand that completely, having gone through that myself. So I wanted to let you all formally know that Mr. Sexton is withdrawn. I will continue my time here in the village on a month-to-month basis until we can find a replacement. But it will not be long-term, as I have other things I need to do and get commitments I need to attend to. So I want to let you all know that. I'll be glad to answer any questions you might have, what I can answer, because it's not my story to tell, it's Pete's. So I'm not gonna try to speak for him, but I just know in our conversation, he was having some hard, some physical, issues, and I was really starting to take a hold.
Okay, does anybody have anything for the municipal manager?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes.
And your month to month, which is okay. I would prefer, if you got a list for the new manager to have experience, so that I know that there was on those letters that we had before, there was a lot of people that was had experience. And we'll go to as a manager. Sure. That's my comment about that. Okay. Then we'll go to the other gentleman who was a manager for Jefferson Township, I believe, for 7 years. And he didn't get a shot, didn't even get a chance. Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Anybody else have anything further?
Just a question, just maybe, I don't know if the law director maybe have to answer this. Are you under a contract?
Yeah.
So how does that work? Are you extending, is that what you're basically doing?
Correct. So back in February, when council passed the resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract, it was during the term of the investigation, which is ongoing.
Right.
So I had first it was a 6-month contract that got extended by 3 months, and then now it's a month-to-month basis for a maximum of 3 more months. I hope to be completed before that.
Anybody else? No? Okay. Council member comments. Mr. Joy, we'll start with you, sir.
Last night there was, actually, I think it was Mr. Atkins, spoke about, the water and sewer engineer. And the comment was made that he makes $9,000 a month on 30 minutes a day for 3 days a week. And, with some, discussions, that I've had, over the last year or so, I can tell you that that's not true. It's, he works 30 minutes a day for 3 days on the water, and he works 20 hours a week for the sewer. And that's supply and demand. There isn't hardly anybody out there with these certifications. And that's why he can charge what he can charge. And I should also mention that Chris Eds had the experience. He was an operator, and he simply needed to go take the test to become certified. And because of the stress that has happened over the last year, he left. So, I just thought that should be noted. That's all I have. Thank you. Good.
Mr. Beck.
Second. I want to address the issue of people speaking out just a little bit. So before people decided to come in droves, crowd this place, which is good to see. I'm happy everybody is coming here. If you would have came up here prior, you would have found out that it's the same rules that the people that came up here before you had to abide by. We weren't allowed to speak out. You have to sign up in the back with a sheet. So it's the same thing that we had to do. It's not anything different. And as the law director stated, it's parliamentary procedures. So and how order and business is conducted. I think the way I best heard it is it's either done correctly or you have an entire circus. We have a lot of tough tasks ahead of us. And I'm hoping that the village will come together so that we can fix these issues. Or you can continue to do the things you're doing, but it's not helping. And it's always been said, you're either part of the problem or part of the solution. So I'm hoping that the village, moving forward, that we can come together and come up with solutions that are gonna be effective to heal and mend the village as a whole and get things done correctly. You may not agree with all of us or things like that on everything. I don't know a single politician that anybody agrees with on every topic. I'm not asking anybody to do that. I'm just stating it would be nice if we could come together and solve the issues that last night were discussed. And I honestly wish the amount of crowd we had here tonight was here last night. Because that was the probably most important thing that we had going on is discussing our financial and where we're at as a village. And unfortunately, there was probably maybe 3 or 4 people here. So, but I understand people's time is strained by life, but it just would have been nice to see more people here to understand where we are financially and where and how we've gotten to that situation. But I do thank you all for coming out and just hope that you guys all have a great evening and thank you again.
Okay, here we go. I take a lot of notes, but I've bugged this gentleman here a few times, but I'll give you, for instance, the last note I had to call, I wanted verification, who asked him to come out here to be the manager, and it was the attorney. So I was satisfied with that, at least I got that down pat. As for the money of $100,000, that's gone, that went to this gentleman, attorney down there. As the other account was $250,000. That account is being taken, being money, but I know Mr. Anderson's probably gonna get at least $80,000 out of that, and who knows how much more the attorney's gonna get. That's so much for that. But if you want a copy of that, all you gotta do is call this gentleman here, and he'll give you a copy of it. Now, as for the gentleman who talked about oath of office, we all took oath of office, but if you get to the charter, like I said the last time, you get the charter, you can see if you go to section 807, section 218, section 103, section 208, and section 207. These aren't very, they're not being followed the way it should be good followed. They're not being, it's totally wrong. And it's what, why I voted no on this last, which was 11, this. A lot of these don't have no answers. There's no answer to, the one of it is because somebody asked about utility ware. Was that taken care of? It was, yeah, but it didn't say that on here. Yeah, and then the other one, was, you know, about Tammy coming off the council. Is anybody positive that there's no, what do you call it, payment plan?
In talking to our tax administrator, we do not have payment plans in the 11th.
For the village.
For the village, for anybody.
Okay, I hope somebody don't bite the dust on that.
There's no payment plan, and Ms. Locke did not make her payments of any kind. So that's pretty clear.
Did I say something? Did I ask anything? I'm talking about that. Right?
So you don't want to hear the answer.
No, I don't want to hear your answer. I want to talk to him, get him here, not you. If I want to talk to him, I'll ask you. And we'll go to one other thing, we'll go to the disturbed. What was the count? When we look at this council. Mr. Coop was on it. To terminate the manager. What was the count?
I believe it was 4-3.
That's, whenever I hear that, that was a count, 4-3. And when you look at the law office, you'll find out if that's legal or not. I'm done.
Thank you, Mr. Ms. Sexton.
Oh, I do. You wanna talk about oath? We wouldn't be sitting here right now having to raise everybody's water and sewer bill because you, Mr. Joy, and Sands have set up here for years. You've been here 16 years. 16 years. What service have you done for this community? You wanna talk about oath? I came up here for 5 years and none of you worried about oath then. Unbelievable. You could have mentioned this a long time ago. This community wouldn't be in this situation. You sat up here and you said nothing. Nothing. We've been up here for 8, maybe 9 months, making tough decisions for the community, not personally. You do a fine job, Mr. Mayor, and I support you 110%. That's all I have.
Vice Mayor.
I want to ask a couple questions, to, actually, we had a meeting. Well, it wasn't a meeting, I had to drop off something, we had to be memorized. But we was talking about, I asked what the law director payment for special counsel and everything was, and you quoted 130, but that also included the village council too, correct? Can you elaborate on that?
That number included the 3 different jobs that the law director handles, which is obviously the law director, the special counsel, and then also the prosecution.
Okay. So it's actually 3. Do you have a breakdown maybe on that, kinda?
May I see your list, Mr. Perkins? I do, I don't know if I can do the math quickly enough, but we haven't broken down.
Just roughly.
So the majority of it has been as special counsel, and I would say the bulk of that is in the Second District Court of Appeals case that was filed by the previous manager.
Okay.
Typically, I want to make it clear, typically when the village has a lawsuit against it, we have our insurance carrier pick up that lawsuit. That would not apply here because they only pick up lawsuits where monetary damages are requested or sought. So the insurance carrier would not cover that for us, so Mr. McNamee had to defend the village in that instance.
And so that's the width, the lawsuit that she's doing that we basically terminated whole contract, correct?
I believe so, yes, it's
Okay.
in the second district court of appeals, yes.
Yes. Okay. So that's the base of it, so, and then he gets paid monthly, the same price that Keno was getting paid, correct?
For his law director services, yes.
Okay. So that's total for all three services.
So the number I gave you is for all three, yes.
Okay, thank you on that. And then I also wanted this, a lot of people were getting a lot of accusations. And I've had neighbors ask me the same thing now because I've seen stuff on social media about us filing the police, the employees. The only thing that council had any say in was Leonard. Is that correct or not?
That's correct.
Did we have any say in filing anybody else in the community that was an employee?
No.
Thank you. And I'm done.
He was looking at it, he wanted to say something. Yeah. Yeah.
You guys can
I was
talk.
gonna say, but is there,
So,
Is that correct then? The only one that was able to, be relieved of their duties was Leonard, and the rest of them was, had to be relieved of their duties
Can I,
by the manager?
Can I comment that?
go ahead.
My comment was, did we as council fire anybody else that was an employee? No, we did not. That was out of our hands. Actually, we didn't even know Chief Hensley got released until days later. We had no clue. We received it by email. So a lot of people think that we knew all of this. We did not. It was, I didn't have a clue that he was released, okay? So, and Bob knows this is true.
Correct.
So, and I just wanted, you guys want to know transparent, I am an open book, I will talk to people, but I'm not gonna do it on social media. I'm not one that's gonna get back and forth on social media. But if you have a question, you can feel free to come and talk to me, I will talk to you. I have nothing to hide. So, but as of what they got fired for, that was on Rob, anybody that wasn't black. So we had no say, the village, the council had no say, the only person that had say of anybody that was a village employee was Rob. It was not us.
Right.
So that's,
Except for Leonard.
except for Leonard, we was able to vote her off.
So
There was a vote on the council, which was 4-6.
So that's why you don't get the rest of the lawsuits from the chief, ex-chief of police for over $100,000 and whoever else was sued, even this.
They really can't sue the council, they can sue the village, but the council's actually not liable for that.
Possibility, you know, like,
We're not liable.
if you get a good lawyer, we can do anything.
I have a question first. I have a question. Are we allowed to? I'm sorry.
I don't wanna speculate on anything, anybody can sue anybody in today's society. One question I do wanna ask, if I can just run it back a little bit. I know there was a lot of concerns, with the last meeting about, officers and stuff. Chief, this would be for you. Did we, when you knew that the officers were leaving, did you do anything to try to retain those officers? And if so, what did you do?
Yes, I spoke with each officer, figured out what was going on, what the reason why they were leaving was, and I intended to work with them. You know, I did everything I could. I've done everything I can to try to keep people, to bring new people in, everything within my power.
Okay, is there anything specific, like, was it a matter of like more pay, they went elsewhere for more pay? I know that some of the issues was stuff that's been sent to, you know, you said allegations and stuff that's been sent to DCI, from my understanding. So is it, like, what specifically did we try to do to retain those officers?
So I can't speak beyond what the officers put in their resignation letters. I can't speak to why individual officers left. You'd have to speak to those individual officers to get their reasoning for why they left. I can tell you one of the reasons why we're having issues hiring is because of the allegations that were made against the police department. That's why I've asked for BCI to come in and investigate it. At some point in time, we're gonna have a clean break of the allegations that occurred in the past. And until we have somebody that's independent, that's not from here, come in and look at all that stuff and rule either yes, stuff was done wrong or no, it wasn't. It's gonna be difficult to bring those people in. That's why, when I met with Rob, when we were discussing me taking over the acting chief spot, that's the first thing I said, is that the very first thing that we need to do is we need to bring BCI in to look at the allegations that have been made. Because until we do that, the good officers that are experienced and trained, that there's some that are interested in coming, but they don't want to come here under a cloud of, you know, them getting wrapped up in things and accused of stuff.
Yeah.
So that's why I keep pushing for us to get BCI in here as soon as we can to start that, because until we do that, it's gonna severely limit the people that we can bring in.
And that stuff has already been sent out to BCI, correct?
I have attempted, they said that I can't request it as to come from special counsel.
And that's,
Yeah, yes.
okay, so then that's in the process, I think. Okay, thank you. I just want to clarify that.
This is. Are we allowed as council to fill public records requests that come through emails?
So official public records request should come through me, but you guys can provide any information you get that isn't necessarily attorney-client privilege. It's a public record, so you can share that. I don't think there's any issue with that. But official requests should come through the village. But, you know, anything that's a public record, you can share. I don't think there's any issue with that.
Okay, last question. Are salary employees entitled to comp time?
So typically not. Now, there are only a handful of salaried employees in the village that are on the payroll, so most are non-exempt. So they're hourly employees. So Chief Kaiser is an hourly employee,
Right.
is eligible for comp time. But most full-time salaried people are.
Thank you.
Well,
So on that, on that comp time. I know that, I believe it's the FS, maybe,
that's all I'm saying.
yeah, I got that backwards, my bad. According to that, they can receive time off, vacation time and stuff like that, but they can't receive like money, cash, stuff like that.
So it depends. So Chief Kaiser has a full bank of vacation time. So we only allow him to carry so many hours over every year. So converting that to vacation time is difficult. I give him a lot of credit because he's worked really hard this year to get that comp time number
But
down.
he's hourly, he's
As an
hourly.
hourly employee, yes. But
So
but I
our,
think that applies to anybody.
I'm talking specifically about salary employees who aren't able to receive actual like money. Like days off they are and stuff like that, correct, but
Yeah.
not actual money.
The practice I've been familiar with wherever I worked has been, you know, people take extra time off and don't use their vacation time. It's been I've never seen people get paid out like that.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, I have something I'd like to address. If I can indulge council and the public for a few minutes, I would appreciate it. I call this my mayor's address, okay? I have never done this, so if you'll be patient with me, I would appreciate it. Council, and Rob, Mr. McAfee, thank you. I want to take a moment to address our community. I'm pleased to see that we have some guests here tonight, and even when we don't necessarily see eye to eye, it makes me happy when I see people getting involved in our local government. That's also what I want to take a moment to address tonight. Rob, I want to thank you for your comments. I agree with it. Lebanon does have a lot to look forward to. Your work over the past several months has been instrumental in helping us to understand the task at hand, what it will take, and what we will need to do now to move this community past, the past. I'm hoping to address you all tonight, and I hope some of you are watching at home with a plea for unity. The audit work Rob has done has given us substantial information about the hurdles we've had to overcome, and also how we get here, or how we got here. In my heart, I truly believe we can overcome them. But the important word here is we. It does not do us any good to continue defending this team, this community, these public servants against attacks by continuing to respond to attacks, continuing to provide the evidence and continue to shed light on the details of what has happened to get us here. I served my community and my country. I was in the armed forces for 32 years and 8 months. And I served this community as a volunteer firefighter with the fire chief as a firefighter EMT for almost 16 years. I love New Lebanon. When I was called to this position in this community, I wasn't sure mayor was for me. But I knew I loved New Lebanon, and I was proud to be chosen by my neighbors and by my community. When I was out campaigning, knocking on doors, I heard from our neighbors. I heard what they were asking for. I talked with the people, not to them, with them. Every day I hear from the people, and they're asking us to keep going. But I have to tell you, all has not been so easy. A very loud, small group of bullies has been working to make moving forward extremely difficult on all of us. I will not allow this toxic environment on social media to define us as council in this community. New Lebanon is a passionate community. I see it every day in the neighbors I speak with, the volunteers who step up, and the leaders who continue to serve despite these challenges. I hear from you. I hear from council. All the calls you get, the comments you see on Facebook and social media. I hear all of it. The attacks, the threats, and the fear you have. I was sad to hear about Mr. Sexton's decision. But the more I thought about it, the less surprised I was. No one should have to face the amount of bullying, the amount of fear you all face for doing your jobs and serving your community through your elected positions. I can imagine those fears also went through his mind as well. No one should have to face the things we all have had to face over the last several months. Bullying is an effort to get us to stop, to back down, to stay stuck in the past. I have also been afraid. Like you, like Mr. Sexton, I have wondered if I too need to give up, quit, pack it up and go home. It'd be easier, it'd be more peaceful. I may be able to sleep at night, but I'm not a quitter. And I know none of you are either. Whether we agree or disagree, we, all of us here in this room tonight, are here for a reason. When I talk to the people of this community, not the bullies behind the keyboards, but the people I see in the checkout lines, in the parks, in our neighborhoods. When I speak with our neighbors, I want to let you know they want us here. They want us to keep pushing for the future of New Lebanon. I have lived here for a long time. This is my home, and I'm not leaving. I feel it is my duty, my calling, to serve it and keep serving it however I can. And this is how I can, as your mayor, in the position that people elected me to. I hope that the dust will settle. I hope that one day we can all come together and work through our differences and come together for a good of the community. But while things are this charged, this toxic, I know at this time it needs to be about putting things behind us and moving forward. We need to heal, and we need to make progress. Rob has given us a very clear insight on what happens and what needs to happen from here, and for that I'm grateful. I truly believe transparency is the key to moving forward, and with the light on where we are, now we can truly move forward. I am asking you, fellow council members, administration, citizens in attendance, but also this whole community, to join me in making a commitment to move forward. We can't fix if we're stuck in the past. I, for one, believe we have a sunnier future ahead. I am eager to get us there. I am proud to be the mayor of this community. Thank you. Okay. And with that being said, we have nothing on for the agenda tonight. Our next regular council meeting will be held on Tuesday, December 3rd, 2024 at 7:30 p.m. Do I have a motion to adjourn this regular council meeting of November 19th, 2024?
Sorry.
Councilmember Sexton?
Yes.
Councilmember Joy?
Yes.
Councilmember Perkins?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Adams?
Yes.
Mayor Nickerson?
Yes.
Councilmember Bag?
Yes.
Councilmember Cooper? Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, everybody. God bless you. Appreciate it.
Okay. So I just asked last Mayor, can you go back and like reread everything you just said, because like your whole first statement, like your whole first paragraph is completely contradicted all the way through. So that would just be all one as, you know, she's saying, you know, transparency, you want us to all come together. So like your whole middle section there completely contradicts everything you said in the first paragraph. It's kind of crazy. I mean, I don't think it's about fooling anybody, right? I mean, if you feel threatened, it's too odd, because I'm pretty sure nobody's threatening anybody.
Hey, Rob, that's what team for this second. Yes, sir. I think it's also good.
The